Is he gonna get the kill? He is gonna get the kill from same player.
Getting that regen and then going into damage. He's looking out.
Every time Ruby's in a bad spot, he gets caught up by the silence touch. He needs to wait for it to get off, and he will wear off. He tries to run away, but Trigger will find him with the dash. But at what cost? So low, he's on the wrong side of things. Bart will only be barely escape out of there right away with this. He's trying to get the Gila rages around. And honestly, no cost whatsoever. We finally have our first kill of the game, and it goes towards Triggerfinger. It will end up picking up the first turret of the game as well, which is a really huge swing. And a
Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mr. Pillow, and it's my pleasure to once again welcome everybody to the Awesomenauts Rumble Scrim Show. This is our weekly show where we take scrims from the competitive community and cast them right before your eyes. Joining with me today for this endeavor is the wonderful Pyro Cheese. How you doing, sir?
Doing just fine this wonderful morning. Thanks for asking. Nice to be here and definitely ready to cast some nice games.
Indeed, it's going to be an exciting one today. Friendly reminder to everybody, Awesomenauts Rumble, we are a tournament organization for Awesomenauts. We do a bunch of stuff. We do, for example, like this stream weekly. We have a monthly tournament called Gathers, which it's taking place this month on June 10th and 11th. For more information about that, check out all the social media links below inside all of our info panels. But we don't like to dawdle on things over here. People are tuning in right now because they want to see a match of casting competitive Awesomenauts. So, Pyro, I think we can just go ahead and hop on into that.
Yeah, let's get right into it. Get right into the excitement.
Indeed. Our match today is going to be Lots Devmon Dinosaur 49 versus Asdor, Lucky Time, and Celtsy. So first, start off, so you guys know, you can win a giveaway. I want you guys to guess right now who you think is going to win, the red team or the blue team, and if you guess correctly, you'll be eligible for a giveaway. After the match, you have until the match begins to get your guesses in. So Pyro, this is your long-awaited chance to cast Lucky Time. How does that feel? Excuse me, not Lucky Time, Celtsy. How does that feel?
Might be Lucky Time a little bit as well, but no, yeah, definitely my chance to cast some Celtsy. So for those of you who don't know, watching this stream, me and Celtsy are sort of on a team together. We're sort of on a team together, but more along the lines of just some buds who hang out all the time. So I mean, it's kind of cool to see him on this competitive match in the second. And you know, I'm not gonna be shit talking him so hard, but no guarantees. Really.
Well, you're doing better than me. I want to shit talk him.
You know, it's just gonna be a fun match no matter what. I mean, when it comes to this matchup, I do see some things that are kind of interesting. One, Celtsy is playing his main. I know that much about him. He's playing Penny, as well as a couple of other mains. I believe it is Dinosaur playing, or sorry, Lucky Time playing Ray, as well as Dinosaur on the blue team playing their main Chucho. So a lot of mains coming out. So it's going to be some high level play, I would say. People playing what they're comfortable with, and you know, playing it in some comps that I would consider pretty strong. I would say, you know, especially coming out on the red team, the Swiggins, Ted, and Chucho going to be on that side. So it's going to be lot of lockdown, a lot of quick action, a lot of bursts coming out of that team, but a lot of mobility coming out on the red team, or on the blue team, sorry, as well, with the Penny, Ray, and Leon. So some invis action going on, so getting out of some of the action, as well as, you know, Penny can sort of effectively fly, you know, debatable in that case, and Ray just be able to get some range action. But it's going to be interesting to see how these things kind of play out, especially on a map like Sabrona, so open and kind of very open for this kind of mobility things. But with that being said, what do you think about these matchups?
Well, looking at it, you've got to see, the kind of clear-cut brawling potential of a Penny here. She's able to get up in places that's going to be extremely difficult for Swiggins and Ted to reach. They're going to always have to be fishing with the airstrikes and the anchors. They're not going to be able to engage the Penny on their own terms unless they find the anchor. But when you consider the counter initiation game, that's going to be coming out from Rift, that's going to be coming out from Pounces, and the threat of a tongue, that to reel you into a Rift and into a Pulse and kind of set up that combo there. If you dawdle around too long with the footsie knots, then it's going to be something that's going to... The red team is always kind of going to feel a bit like they can't go in yet, but at the same time, they're going to feel pressured to go in. I guess like the key point on which everything turns on then in that case would be the Chucho, who has kind of that unlimited sky access and better aerial maneuverability than the Penny. If she can go in, she keeps them poked down, gets the sticky bombs happening, and does her best to just constantly just be keeping the blue team from being full HP and being where she needs to be. That can potentially be what causes the win versus loss, in my opinion, for the red team, because they're going to be really, really dependent on the amount of space that Chucho can create, because the Swiggins cannot just walk towards Raylan with the Rift ready and a Penny with all of her abilities ready unless, something else is going on.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Chucho's always kind of been an interesting with initiation as well as just counter initiation too. Just especially with the delayed burst of the time bomb. It's kind of like if you open up a team fight with that, it's always tough for the receiving end just because it's like, oh, well, I'm in this danger. Not yet, but I do know that my time here is limited. It's, it's a time bomb. Their time is limited to, take that damage and be comfortable in that situation. With a couple of other things, Swiggins lockdown and Ted stun potentially that we might see. It could make for some interesting brawls just overall and some possibly very quick team fights, depending on how things go. But it'll be very, very fun to see.
Oh, absolutely. Well, with that said, are you ready to get into this?
I am, absolutely.
All right, then. I am going to transition over, and I am at the 21-second mark. Would you like to give us a countdown, sir?
Sure, let's go ahead and go in 21 seconds in 3, 2, 1. Go.
And we're off on the blue team. You got Salty again playing that Penny. You got Asdor playing the Leon the Chameleon, and Lucky Time playing the Raylan. And on the red side, Lots is going to be playing the Ted. You got Dinosaur 49 playing that Chucho Croc, and Devmon is going to be playing Admiral Charles Swiggins. And the gate is open, and they are off. Looks like we still got abilities being decided by two members of the blue team. Penny getting right in there with the gun, reaching, coming out on Swiggins. Stun Pack coming out on Ted, and I believe that's, Boom Gas coming out on Chucho. What do you think about the Boom Gas here?
The Boom Gas, I think it's an interesting upgrader. In my opinion, it's a little stronger than it should be, but this may be a little bit of personal bias. Just because it is very strong, Boom Gas, for those of you who don't know, what it does is that it actually makes an explosion based on the detonation of Chucho's bike. So instead of holding middle click and it just disappearing, it'll actually do an AoE explosion for a considerable amount of damage, I would say. Even at base at level 1, it does 400 damage. But not only that, it does reduce the cooldown to when he can call the bike again to half what it would do normally. So I think normally it's about I forget, like an 8-second cooldown, something like that, but it reduces it to half of whatever it is. So, his bike is going to be, almost always going to be available to him in that situation. But other than that, I think it's kind of interesting to see. It's always nice to see what the first upgrades in these kinds of competitive matches are for their teammates. So, for instance, Celsi got a range Penny, which, one of the things that he never really likes, and he is going to be first blood right there, followed quickly by Dinosaur going down. Swiggins going to be caught out, also going to be going down there, actually. Just a nice follow-up from Tongue on Leon, as well as from the finishing burst damage from the ranged Ray Snipe. But yeah, going back quickly to what I was saying, it's always nice to see what the first scrims are going to be. So Swiggins got double region immediately. This is something that I usually do as well, but just to be able to stay out, especially on Serona, where there isn't a whole lot of healing options, especially without any kind of support from a healing character. But Range Penny coming out on Celsi, as well as a booming bike coming up from Chucho, and Stimpack stun from Swiggins right there as well. Or not Swiggins, sorry, from Ted. There's going to be a team fight here as well. Dinosaur going to be on the blue side, going to see if he can find anything, but instead just going to be flying out.
Blue side,
no,
actually,
not quite.
Yeah, I thought he was might about to take out Devamon there also, but they're getting them all really low. They're not really getting Sticky Bomb, except for, you know, then he got pressured out of that. And gonna see a tongue initiation coming on to Lots right there. Not gonna be any follow-up coming. He should be able to get clean access to that health pack he was just waiting a second just to make sure it was fine. And now they're actually going to be taking mid, and they're just kind of waiting out. There's the Rift. Leon looking to see if he can tongue anyone in. He's going to tongue Devmon, but again, not much else going to happen. What needs to happen whenever the Leon tongues in order to translate it into a kill? Like, yeah, everyone uses their abilities, but like, you know, the Leon's usually going to be like kind of way ahead of everyone else, right? So like, how does that play out?
I think it's going to come up from a lot of follow-up from Penny specifically, just because, oh, that's going to be Celsi going down right there, unfortunately, to an airstrike. Well-timed and well-placed, on my mind. Lot's going to be looking for some damage right there, or sorry, going to be looking to get out from the Leon right there. Is going to find it, so it's going to be a 1-for-0 trade in that situation. But for blue team kill conditions, if we're going to start out with Leon, I think it does come down to how Penny is going to be added into the mix. Because Ray, I feel, is just going to be, you know, as Rays go, almost always going to be damage on demand. You know, they're just ranged, and these are going to be very close quarter combat situations from the red team coming out. But I think it is going to be coming from the Penny that they need a good follow-up, potentially a tongue into a pounce or a tongue into some amp damage, or just with her high mobility, just being able to get in and out of those kinds of initiations are going to go a long way. Or, you know, right there, Leon attempted to tongue into a rift, which would have been very nice, but unfortunately didn't pan out into anything. Lucky Time is going to be caught out right there, and actually is going to be taken out. Penny going to be looking for a kill, and she actually finds it right there on the Ted. Dinosaur looking low, as well as Penny right there going to be going back. Dinosaur is going to stay a little bit longer inside, just getting some health back from the creeps that are up at the top. And then Azor going to be right there fighting the Swiggins, and overall losing. He's going to be low health, going to be able to just get out right there. So it's going to be left with Penny for defending a little bit. Top lane going to be pushed a little bit, not too much, not a whole lot of turret damage done yet on either side. It's about even overall, although all of the turret damage is going to be done on the bottom blue side from the red team. It's going to be a team fight right there. It's going to be 3v2 until Dinosaur gets back in. It's also going to be looking a little bit low, and Devmon right there also going to be looking low. Dinosaur going to be caught out alone, actually, now. This is going to be rough, actually, for Devmon. Sorry, for Dinosaur, and it is actually, he's going to go down. It's going to be a 1-for-0 trade in that team fight. It's kind of interesting to see the team fights right here. It is going to be a little bit more long than I actually intended. I thought it was going to be really, really quick in and out kind of situations, but they are a little bit longer than I would have taken.
Yeah, I agree, and it's kind of interesting because one of the things that I would think would contribute to that is the lack of lifesteal options apparently on the teams, but when you still see that the entirety of the red team has opted for region at this point, and we're going to see the initiation coming out from Dinosaur 49, Celsi manages to do some excellent auto attack tracking. Now Lucky Time is going to be caught out by the anchor. He's trying to juke, but he's not going to be able to make it. That was really close, but Celsi is going to pick up the double kill, taking out Lots, running from the turret, and Azor is trying to make a tongue there off of a jump out rotation. Honestly, probably should have been there a bit sooner to that one, but regardless, there's going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of the blue team, and now they're going to get both lanes pushed up. They got Swiggins on the defense, who is not a good defender. He's already used his anchor knife to clear, and that only brought them down to about 50% HP, and this is just that's not, you know, the best situation they can be in. However, Dinosaur 49 is back in lane, but he's going to get tongued, and he's going to go down to half health, but not without planting that sticky bomb onto Azor, and that's going to put him down to half as well. And we see kind of a little bit of footsie launch just kind of going on now as both teams recuperate, get back in lane. Lucky Time going to see if he can find an airstrike, and he's only going to find the bike to hit and going to get airstriked as a result, and that's just going to be some unfortunate chip damage. Lots going in, and he wants to find those pokes. He's probably going to get sniped here. Lucky Time going for those very cheeky snipes. He needs to be careful because Lots needs to be more careful though, because Lucky, while I say that, just riffs him and sets up an amazingly solid kill. for Azor, and that's going to be another clean 1-0, bringing it 7-4 in favor of the blue team. They're going to go ahead and push down that bottom lane, and Lucky Time looking to see if he can snipe someone off the rotation. And now Celsi is going ahead and getting some chip on top. We're going to see Dinosaur come up and get into that rift there, go down to 50% health.
Dangerous.
Yeah, those lane rotations, man, they are scary. If you're in that situation, if you realize you just ran into a rift, what should you do?
I think, I mean, first off, get out. I mean, I think that goes without saying. But I guess more specifically, it's yeah, basically, right? Just backpedal a little bit. But yeah, I think it's tough to really say because I mean, it is time rift, which is going to be a decent amount of slow. Lots actually going to almost be going down right there, or no, not quite going down. So also going to have to get out though. There, everyone is actually going to be low on the blue team. Could be a full retreat right there. Maybe give some red team a chance for some map control, which have been lacking recently. But if you are stuck in time rift, I think it is going along to, you know, don't panic. You know, it's almost like I almost want to say it's like being attacked by a bear. So I'm like, don't panic. Try to get out of the situation as quickly as you can, but also do it in a way that is not going to be towards the enemy team. Although it is tough with this team. A lot of the times I could see where a rift could be an immediate death. It's just because there is going to be stun from Penny, there is going to be relocation from the Leon tongue, so you could be potentially stuck in the rift for a while. And you know, if you're stuck in the rift for a while, easily could be a death for you right there. But what I did want to point out actually is that I think there are some interesting builds going out right now. So specifically on Ray, it looks like she's focusing on auto attack. As I say that though, there is going to be a time bomb on Celsi that is going to take him out, unfortunately. And Devmon is going to be going down as well to that auto attack that I was actually going to be mentioning right there. That Lucky Tam has been focusing HC bomb as well as what is it called? Receding ponytail on auto attack just to get some more damage. I kind of wanted to see your thoughts on that. Just because, like, you know, we were talking about how Ray was just going to be like burst on demand, but it looks like she's focusing more a little bit on auto attack than I would have anticipated.
The auto attack damage is extremely cost efficient. Having both the piercing and the height isn't excuse me, not the height, but the HC bomb. This really isn't heard of. Receding ponytail, I think, is kind of standard pickup at the beginning. They're all really good. Thing is, Raylan's auto attack damage is extremely cost efficient. It's actually one of those things that's really surprising. But when you're suddenly in the early game popping out 100, 120 damage auto attacks just in the brawl and just constantly getting that poke in, that's amazing clear, amazing brawling potential that she otherwise doesn't have, but she doesn't build into that. So it lets her go in and fight a little bit harder because when the enemy goes in on you, the amount of damage that they take is a lot more than they expect. Then, as you can see she's doing, she's just gonna sniper, they run away. Though in this case, running away wasn't necessary as he actually gets warmed right there, trying to make his escape route in that 1v3 scenario. So I don't think it's a bad option at all. Is you know, is that the only way to go? No, but is it extremely viable in a lot of situations? Absolutely. And Asdor is going to be in a not so viable situation, and he was out and then goes and gives those droids a little kiss on the cheek, and it was a kiss of death as he's going to be sent back to the respawn, and that's going to be leaving Celsi and Lucky Time in a 2v3 scenario. They're going to go ahead and get that snipe and rip down the top lane. And Devmon going in, he actually does a lot of damage. Doesn't quite find that hook though, and going to be taking some damage from the rift on the way out. Celsi just doing some very clean and patient gun clearing. And on the bottom lane there as they wait for Azor to get back in lane. He was picking up his third auto attack upgrade. He's going to be getting backstab. He's got some interesting items sprinkled throughout there. You know, you see like standard Leon stuff. Okay, yeah, you got silence, you got backstab, you got Morning Star, but like he's already got, for example, clone health really early. You already see attack speed and slow coming out. How are you feeling about the Leon build?
Interesting pick on the lifetime of the dummy, I would say. I don't know if he's really using it more as kind of like an opportunity when they're pushing that they can get a little more damage. Because at this point, I see a more just standard kind of clone placement, you know, going invis when opportune, and then just kind of like leaving your clone there. I don't think there's any necessarily specific strategy to where he's putting them, at least from what I can see at this point. Dinosaur is going to be really low right there and not going to be able to get out. Going to go down to that 1 or 2 charge pulse right there. Actually, is a pretty nice play, I would say, from Celsi. Maybe not a little bit, just a little bit of credit there. And the bottom turret is going to be going down to red team as well as Lots right there. So it is going to be only the Swiggins there left alone to defend their top turret. Already going to be around half health at the top turret. So right now the blue team is definitely winning the push game. You know, 1 turret down, 1.5 turrets down, while they only have roughly half a turret down on their own bottom. There's going to be some free push from some droids that are going to be up there as well. But going back to the Leon really quick, I think it is a nice pick to get slow on his auto attack, just because, you know, I feel like everyone here is geared towards being a little bit more brawly. You know, Chucha's always been a strong brawler, I would say, you know, being able to place his bike and then kind of brawl in that area, as well as Ray picking up some auto attacks instead of the snipe damages. But Leon also getting the slow is going to help out with being able to chase, as well as being able to actually keep people in certain areas, you know. Especially on someone like Swiggins, it's going to be very, very tough for... Ooh, speaking of which, it's going to be very tough for him to get out in such situations, just because it's going to limit his movement, especially vertically, because as Swiggins doesn't have a whole lot for escapes, but it does have a nice vertical jump. Lots potentially going to be down, not quite. Instead, Lucky Time is actually going to be caught out.
Caught, because Swiggins.
You're right. Yeah, right. There we go. That was the intent right there.
Exactly.
Let's go with that.
Don't worry, dude. Nice pun. Nice pun.
Right. Yeah. Credit where credit's due, please. What was I going to say? Yeah, he is going to be getting out though. Nothing too much happening out there. But the top red turret did go down. So currently, the left side of the map is a lot more open than the right. I think that goes without saying. A lot more space for them to play around with. And the red team is going to be on the defensive. They are also an entire level behind at this point. So if we're talking about advantages and disadvantages, red team is going to have a little bit more health, a little bit more damage. Overall, they are looking in a favorable position, even though builds are relatively even as far as items. They do have more solar, if I'm looking at the solar counts. So overall, things are looking okay for the blue team, but you know, with the XP system and how things go, that can change pretty quick. So.
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to see the double pulse coming out there. Not going to be much follow-up. Blue team going to be walking down a little bit further down the lane. We got droid waves on both sides, so that's going to be you know, getting the red team, you know, something to do, giving them some chores before they can go and make their next big play, so to speak. And Lot's going to get caught out going for that cheeky airstrike, doesn't even think, and the pounce and tongue just is all the initiation in the world needed to just take him out in the blink of an eye. That was something you sneeze you missed right there. And now you can see the anchor dive coming out, and the sticky bomb barely misses Leon. That would have been a kill. That's unfortunate. They need to watch out for Celsius Pulse, but he's actually going to be going down here. So he gets hooked and fished right in front of that turret. There's going to be the rift right there, and that's going to give Lucky Time a little bit more breathing room. We're going to go ahead and take out another bar, and kind of get into a small moment of footsie nods where the rift is making it so that the red team doesn't want to go in, but they have enough power so that the blue team doesn't want to go in.
Man, if Swiggins had gotten there before the teleport got off, that actually would have been pretty rough. Leon was already on his way out. That might have been, who knows, but too late now. But
yeah, no, I see what you're saying. And the red team is going to take the teleportation, though, as an opportunity to go ahead and storm mid. And they're actually going to find Asdol really, really fast. He's taking a lot of damage, but they might be taking too much damage trying to get him. There's going to be the kill there. But Dinosaur probably going to get hunted down by Penny. He's trying his best to juke, and he actually waits for Penny to come back on the rebound and then use that jump pad. Devmon going to be caught in a rift elsewhere, and he's going to get taken down. Lucky Time gets hooked to the last second, though. There's going to be the airstrike taking him down, but Celsius is going to pick up the double kill. Will he find the triple kill? He will not. Dinosaur going to be taking him out. That's going to leave him the only one standing left on both sides, and now he's going to go ahead and get those droids pushed up. He should be able to take out this bottom turret, and that will be the first turret of the game for the red team. Exactly the break that they needed, and actually even up the levels, and he's actually trying to get out now. He does have that mostly low, but and he's coming back. He needs to watch out. Lucky Time and Celsius going to be back not before too long.
Man, that tongue. Yeah. I feel like that tongue, if he had landed that would have been it for Dinosaur. Maybe a turret for a life right there would have been worth it, especially since the blue team hasn't been back yet. But either way, that was close, and that is going to be the bottom blue turret down, so red team going to be opening up the other side of the map a little bit for themselves, and that is going to be Leon going a little bit too hard alone against the enemy team right there, going down to the TED. So far right now, it is looking like a comeback from the red team so far. They have pretty much evened up the levels. They're actually a little bit ahead, as well as the kills are relatively even, 13 kills on the red team as opposed to the 16 on the blue side. So things are looking a lot more even than they were just a little bit ago. That 2-for-3 trade ended up very much so in the red team's favor, not only immediately but also just map control and just being able to actually get things going for themselves. So Celsi going to be caught in the middle of them, almost going to be hooked right there for the Swiggins, but Swiggins are going to be caught on the time rift, and then it's going to be a little bit of brawling. Chuchu going to be caught in the top right corner of the map. Is he going to be able to teleport? Oh, wow. Very, very close right there on this. Just going to be getting out with a smidgen of health. Is that going to be a Swiggins down, though? That is going to be a Swiggins down.
That was nice.
That was nice, yeah. That was... Oh, that detonation from the time bomb. He was just in the circumference of that to actually get that off. Penny is still going to be a little hard right there. There's going to be a 1-for-1 trade over there. So overall, it's going to be 2-for-2. Dinosaur left as well as Lucky Time. If there's anyone I feel like you don't want left alive, though, it would be Lucky Time, just because he has such amazing push right now. You know, with piercing auto attack, he's going to have a lot of push capability. If he gets on the turret, it's a lot of damage from HC bomb, piercing, as well as he does have now attack speed on his auto attack. So very, very powerful, coming out with clearing joys as well as just general brawling. He is going to be caught out right there in the middle alone. Well, not caught out necessarily, but is going to be there. Azor now in, so he's going to be able to get some initiation going on. Swiggins right there looking for an anchor and hook, but there's not, his teammates aren't necessarily around to capitalize on it, so it's just going to be not too much happening there. Azor is going to be looking at about 2 turrets health. Gonna looking for initiation right there. Devmon almost going down right there to the tongue as well as a pulse combo. But right now it's going to be not so much, just a time bomb going off right there. So a little bit of Footsie going on, not a whole lot of action so far. Lots right there actually going to be caught out right there, unfortunately. Leon gonna be looking for that kill. It's gonna be 1-for-1 trade overall. Lucky Time caught in that anchor right there, and is just gonna be hanging there like a pinata, unfortunately. Just some free damage right there on him. So it's gonna be Celsi alone to defend this top turret. There's not any droids. The droids are barely coming out there, but that is not gonna stop Dinosaur to getting a little bit of free push. Devmon right there gonna be there helping out as well. But overall, what do you think is kind of the condition for each team right now? Because we were talking about earlier, you know, kill condition for the blue team, and we've seen that right now. But at this point, things are pretty leveled out. So I mean, you know, there are some trades right here going on, but it looks like nothing too major, just kind of simple back and forth. Is there anything that you think that any one team could do to get a leg up on the other?
Well, they need to make sure they're following. Because we're seeing the tongues get landed, we're seeing the anchors get landed, and it's about who responds to it cleanly. Like, for example, when Azor, you know, made that trade happen earlier, right where their old top turret was, he missed a couple of auto attacks on lots. And because he missed those, he had to stay longer on a commitment to make the kill happen, which gave the red team enough time to do a proper counter initiation. And just like right here, they're going to go in, and Azor getting dealt a lot of damage. He missed a couple of auto attacks there in the process. And if you can land at all of that, then you can make the kill happen fast enough and clean enough in order to you know, make the kill happen. So those are the sort of things I would look at. I know. Oh, look at that! That's gonna be a lot of damage coming out, and they're trying to find him. Azor actually counter initiated on, like right there. Like Dinosaur is actually out of that, and they pay their lives. He's actually going back in. That was really cheeky. And will Lucky Time die? Nah. What? Yeah.
No.
But no. Okay. No, that was the other guy dying. Celsi.
Someone's dying here.
Hey,
yeah, I do agree.
Mark.
I think yes.
Swiggins build. We don't see any anchor dive damage. We see duration with magnetic anchor. We see full auto attack. What are your thoughts?
I think it's definitely interesting. I was gonna point that out earlier when we were talking about auto attack on Array, that we're gonna see pure auto attack damage on Swiggins right there as well. So it is kind of interesting take on Swiggins. It's gonna be entirely kind of team supporting Swiggins, you know, looking on duration for anchor dive, but not health necessarily. Maybe, oh yeah, we do see one stated health. That's my mistake. But overall, I think it's interesting. That's not a build you see very often. That is a kind of build that I've considered going. But I guess he is relying more on his team for damage in that situation. And, you know, he's not necessarily wrong. I mean, Chucho and, I was going to say Deadlift, but Chucho and Ted can definitely be some strong damage leaders, especially with Burst coming out right there. So as long as they get someone chained down, it looks like it's going to be a lot of damage coming out right there. And if someone's caught out, they're going to be caught out there for another 2 seconds, which is a long time in this game. Interesting take. I wouldn't necessarily call it bad. I would call it interesting, but definitely something that we don't see very often, and who knows, might come into play. That is going to be right there as I was speaking. Leon going to be going down to a time bomb, and Dinosaur going to be looking for a chase on Celsi, and Lucky Time going to be right there, just barely getting out and getting a little free snipe past the barrier. They are going to be on the defensive right now, though. I'll push all the way back to that. Lucky Time going out a little bit too far from his turret right there. I don't really know exactly what he was thinking right there, honestly. But at the same time, it's going to be Celsi alone, and Celsi, I can just see the greed coming out on his face right there, looking at all of his enemies right there at about a third health, looking to maybe get a kill, but he's not going to go for it. He's the only defender right there, and it is going to be.
Here it is. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, there you go. So it's going to be at least one pick off right there. But they do need to keep that turret alive. Only looking at one bar now, so things have definitely changed from when things were earlier. We started out 2 of the red turrets going down by themselves, and now we're looking at almost all of the blue turrets gone, and not so much on the red side. Nothing much has changed. There's a little bit of chip on their back red turret, but blue turret is definitely looking in a worse place.
Definitely, and a couple more mistakes from the blue team, and that's not gonna be good. They are really running out of their breathing room there. One build that I also got to point out, looking at Lucky Time packing. I actually was gonna have to wait a second. Big initiation coming out. That is the clean initiation they needed. It's killed so fast. They landed everything perfectly. Every auto attack from Azor connected before any counter initiation was even conceived. But oh my gosh, and there's gonna be another kill right in front of the turret there. That is exactly what they need. This puts them in a really good scenario. Lucky Time gonna go pick up that back health. But we see damage, blind, and iron rifle. That's the shield and CC immunity coming out on the snipe from Lucky Time. We don't see any range. What are your thoughts on that? I actually think that's something I've never thought about, but I think it's actually really good so far.
No, yeah, definitely. I would consider that a very good build in the situation. Blind is always, well, maybe not always, but blind has recently been more in the meta just because it is pretty strong. It disables droids for a second, as well as being overall with the graphics changes, things like that. Pretty strong against Knots too, going to be able to disorient them for sure. But damage, you can't really go wrong with damage. But the other pickup, Iron Rifle, I would say. Generally speaking, on Serona, this being such a wide map, a lot of the times I do see range coming out. But Lucky Time seems to be playing a much more aggressive Ray than most I've seen, so it's kind of one or the other, in my opinion, when it comes to Rays. Either Iron Rifle so that you can safely get closer with snipes, or range so you can safely be further away and snipe. And overall with this pickup with Iron Rifle is good for 2 reasons. One, like I said, get closer to snipe safely, or to actually break out of that chain. So it is going to be a counter to that Swiggin's chain that is, going to be another 2 seconds. Well, not anymore with Iron Rifle, basically. Just activate sniper, you're going to be getting out of that as long as with that extra health shield, so you might actually be getting out a little bit less worse for wear than you might have imagined. So I think overall it's a good snipe build. I would have expected it a little bit earlier, in my opinion. Like I said, it's interesting to see him focusing a lot on auto attack. Not that it's necessarily bad, it's just kind of, along with the same lines of the Swiggin's build. Interesting to see. Not bad, if anything good, frankly, but interesting nonetheless.
Definitely, and that chip there was also just for real, just randomly getting smacked by that 894 HP. If you go in to try and do something about it, you can't. Swiggins can't cancel it. You get blinded and just shoved out of lane. If you try and fight back, then you have to deal with the Penny and the Leon in your face. It's just it's just all too much. It's like maybe any 1 or 2 of those things is fine, but all that is just makes it into this incredible burst. And look at that rift there. Lots going in way too hard and going to get counter initiated on. Azor going down to half a bar. He's going to get out. Dinosaur in a bad situation. Manages to get out. Probably when one more auto attack before that pounce would have been the kill.
Yeah, there was almost a nice snipe right there. I don't know if you caught that, but there was almost a snipe on Dinosaur that definitely would have ended his life right there. But it's going to be on the back heels right there. The red team right now defend their back turret.
Absolutely, and you see kind of just real footiness, Dinosaur and Dino not coming in, Devmon not really doing much, just went into clear destroys because they don't want to take on the fight without lots. Once it's 3v3 and not 2v3, they'll go in, hopefully make the play they need. They got the base exposure happening now. Not a good situation, especially considering it's a Leon, it's Serona, it takes a while to get across the map, but if they can find a good double kill here, they can easily take that last turret. I mean, the blue team last turret just needs to be sneezed on, and they'll be able to take the game.
Yeah, just give it a little bit of a cold and it's down right there.
Exactly. And we're gonna probably see a pretty intense response moment, I guess, as this happens. You know, neither team is gonna want to give this up, and both teams are just kind of staring at each other. They're in a really tiny, you know, strategic choke point. Their blue team is managing to escort their super droid in. They're trying to keep it protected. It looks like they're going to get one of its rockets on, and then Lucky Time is managing to find a very nice pickoff on Lots. They're using that rift, and that might just be game. They're starting to get the real base push going on. There's going to be a wonderful double pounce, and Dino's going to take out Salty, but Azor taking out Devmon. That leaves Chucho versus Leon and Raylan. It's not the best of matchups, and that base is so low. This has got to be it, and that is, and it looks like this match is going to be going to Lucky Time, Salty, and Azor, as all three of them make their Scrim Show debut, and astonishing color or something, whatever that phrase is.
Sure, let's go with that.
All right, so what could the red team have done different?
I think a lot of it came down to some unlucky pickoffs, or maybe not necessarily unlucky, but like well-timed pickoffs on the blue team, I would say. Especially one of the, I think that was a really good example on its head right there. Just, you know, being caught out a little bit longer or a little bit further than it should have been. Because they do have a lot of opportunity, the blue team, in order to actually capitalize on that. You know, not only does Leon have he did go full damage tongue, so it's going to be a lot of initiation right there, but also being able to cut off any movement from Rift, especially towards the end right there, is going to be really, really powerful. And, you know, if they're, you know, at this point in kind of the competitive or, you know, well-coordinated scene, you're going to be seeing a lot of that, you know, being able to pull them out and then, you know, being able to cut off their escape with Rift and things like that. And also coming out with some Silence Tongue as well as Silence Pulse that we never really discussed, but as well just general damage and stun. Really potent combos that come out if they actually manage to land their abilities in time with each other. And that's basically what we were seeing, you know. Even towards the end right there, Leon and Penny going behind the base to cut off Swigan's movement, and actually going to be able to pick him off in the end, was, I think, just a testament to really the kind of good coordination that they were having and the ability, I think, you know, kill conditions, things like that, being able to, you know, you can say that for like pretty much any game, but being able to coordinate their abilities, but also their general builds, you know, like I said earlier, we were talking about the Slow Blade and like the Silence Tongue and the auto attack damage. I think a lot of that went towards being able to push the red team back, or at least force them on the defensive, just because it was a lot more difficult for them to engage. You know, the red team, I would say, is a more brawl composition than most of the compositions that I would see, but at the same time, they were not as comfortable in that situation, just because blue team did have an answer to that. You know, Penny, one of the better, or one of the more effective brawlers, I would say, as well as Leon being able to initiate those brawls. And Ray, not necessarily known for their brawling, but that going auto attack actually did help a lot in that situation. So, in a lot of those team fights, were able to be turned around in those situations, and overall, it did end up for a victory in the blue team.
Definitely, and another thing that I think is worth mentioning is, you know, all that silence on that blue team. You know, you have something we didn't really talk about. Having that silence on Leon, having that silence on Penny allowed them to go in more comfortably. A lot of times, even with low HP, and when other times the red team couldn't, because they had to always respect their blue team's abilities. Other thing is, honestly, I'm all for trying new builds, but that Swingin's build wasn't cutting it. You need Blue Heart and Agent Octane. It's like one of those few, like just having the standard burst build, like in that sense, like that would have been kills for days against this comp. Like Leon would basically be one shot at any given moment, and to a certain extent, so does Raylan, by Blue Heart, Anchor Break damage, Amplify, all that good stuff. Like it would honestly have dealt so much. There's so many times where even when Swingins picked up a fight, they were like waiting for like Magnetic Anchor to finish them off, and it's like they would have gotten that kill 3 seconds ago if he had Blue Heart. They would have hit the others in the process if he had hit Agent Octane, and he wouldn't have to be waiting to guarantee that the kill happened if he had, you know, break damage, like all those different things. And like it's not like even like bad in that sense. Like it's like you're making yourself work harder for the same amount of reward. If you're gonna go a route that makes you work harder, you want to make sure you're getting something.
I definitely do agree. And you know, earlier I was saying that it's not necessarily a bad build, and it's not necessarily a bad build, but I would consider it more of a kind of like a tank buster build for sure. Because I mean, if you have like, for instance, Clunk in that situation, you know, limiting his mobility is one of his like downfalls for sure. One of his boons would be just a potentially giant health pool that he can get. But if he's locked down there for another 2 seconds, you know, that's could be game over for him. But in this kind of composition where it was pretty much squishy knots. I mean, there was no real tanks there. The most tanky person was there. Iron Rifle Ray was about it. Like I said, he could get out of that. So it was, you know, even for the build that was a little bit more niche than you might expect, there was already an answer to it. So I don't think it was the best thing to go in that situation.
And that's it, guys. We're gonna take a short break. We're gonna come back with our second and final match of the day. Do not go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Awesomenauts Rumble Scrim Show. Once again, my name is Mr. Pillow, and joining with me today is once again Pyro Cheese. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right once again.
Awesome, awesome. So that was a really interesting first match. It was nice to see some people that don't usually do in scrims participate in some scrims, and it was really good to see. And see, I guess new faces, not necessarily new to the community, but people that you just don't typically see on the Scrim Show duke in and out. Our next match is going to be a bit more traditional. It's some players that we've come to see from the tournaments quite time and time again. The players are Shin, Shadow, and Nadrakas versus Apollo, Mr. Manager, and Baldy Hunter. And yeah, so
Never gets old.
it won't. It will never. I'll be doing this forever. Like me and Buddy Hunter are gonna be best friends for the lives. And 70 years from now, when we're still getting weekly copies together, I'm gonna call him up and be like, Buddy Hunter.
You got to do the old man was like Body Hunter.
Body. Alright, so, looking at our next match, again, it's Nadraka, Shadow, and Shin versus Manager, Apollo, and Body Hunter. Guys, guess who you think is going to win? Just type red or blue into the chat, and if you guess correctly, you're going to be eligible for a giveaway after the match. It's that simple. All you gotta do is type red or blue. There's no fancy Nightbot commands. Just tell us who you think is going to win. With that said, and it's the map Aguilon, and it's and the top team, the red team, they're gonna be betting out Genji and Ix, and gonna be picking up Deadlift, Swiggins, and Lone Star. On the bottom side of things, the blue team, they're gonna be betting out Vinny and Froggy. Excuse me, I believe I have that wrong. It's Vinny and who did they bet?
On your stream, I think it is incorrect, at least from what I'm seeing on the Scrim portal.
I know. It was Ix. It was Ix that they banned. So my bad about that. But
yeah,
wait, no. Okay, I get it all messed up.
Okay, yeah.
Red team banned Genji and Scoop, and blue team banned Vinny and Ix. Y'all saw nothing. I swear the comps are accurate, though. I pinky promise.
Yeah, the comps are accurate. The ban's not necessarily so much, but I think that's gonna be just fine. Yeah, like you were saying, going to be on the pig nuts is going to be accurate. Deadlift, Swiggins, and Lone Star are going to be coming out on the red team, and then Froggy, Penny, and Sentry coming out on the blue team. So those are the parts that really matter. As far as this matchup, I think it's going to be interesting to see Deadlift and how it's going to be interacting against the blue team, just because he has a lot of escape mechanisms. You know, he can just basically negate some damage from his protected pose, especially with shield. And I've definitely seen it where Sentry is next to useless on him, frankly, playing some Sentry myself. He can just lunge right out of the black hole if he wants to, even if he's caught direct metal of it, as well as being able to protect his team if they're caught on black hole. So at the same time, though, that doesn't mean that that's going to be a one-trick wonder for the blue team. I think they have a lot of options right there as far as initiation goes. You know, everyone on the blue team I would consider an initiator. Froggy going to be able to get in with stun dash. Penny going to be able to potentially get some pounces from behind into some turrets and things like that, or just getting some silence pulses. Either way, it's going to be an interesting matchup to see how things play out, especially, like I said, with kind of like versatility coming out on the blue team.
And no, definitely. And the red team definitely has the potential to, I guess, take on the blue team. They have the deadlift shield. They have all the crazy swing and shenanigans. It's also going to be a matter of whether or not they can go in and cleanly find the mitigation. With that said, honestly, I've never seen it in a comp. Yes, the Lone Star is a really interesting crutch pick that's going to just... It's kind of like what Chucho did in last game, how it can make or break the game, in my opinion. I just want to see how it plays out. You want to go ahead and get into this?
Yeah, let's go ahead and check it out.
Alright, now this match was played before 4.0, so therefore we're going to be starting at the 12-second mark, because they get out onto the field quite a bit sooner.
Alright then, so 12 seconds, I am ready to go.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, and we're off. We got Shadow playing that Swiggins, you got Shin playing the Lone Star, and you got Nadrakas playing the deadlift on that blue side. Dr. Couch, also known as Mr. Manager, picking up the Invis as Froggy G, Bold, and that minimum black gold charge already is Sentry, and you see Paulo playing the Penny. And now we are off, and we don't see that much going on at the moment. and there's gonna be that black hole, and it's actually not Rockets is going to jump into it after it missed on Shin, and by that I mean that he was aiming for deadlift the entire time, obviously. And we're gonna
clearly.
we see the backsplash coming out there. Not much exactly happening. And there's gonna be a nice black hole there. They're gonna go in, deal a lot of damage. Manager not necessarily caught out. Okay, there's gonna be a good bull though. And Body Hunter actually might be the first blood here, and he's actually gonna get taken out. And Paulo might also get that. There's gonna be a 2 for nothing. This is the right now probably the second best team in the world, and they just got double killed within the first minute of the game. So that was interesting to watch. And now we're gonna go ahead and see push coming out. If they do get the push set up, you know, the red team can deal so much to the turrets. And right now, Shin in a bad situation, but you know, especially early game without a team, Sentry doesn't deal that much damage, so he's gonna be okay. And not much more is going to happen for a second. Shin going to get pounced off the jump pad rotation, and there's going to be a very clean frag, courtesy of the Paulo pounce initiation there. And now we're going to see the backsplash there. Mr. Manager just playing distraction. He's not going for Eve, the splash dash chip damage. He's going for, hey, waste your time on me. That's all he's doing.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty wise right here because, you know, the red team doesn't really have a whole lot of control over the map as much as blue team would. You know, Sentry being able to deny a couple of areas, as well as blue team going to have limited range as well without their Lone Star anyway. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of lane changes and see what kind of distractions Frog can put out. As well as right there, Paulo going to be actually picking up the invis, so maybe we're going to see something. I don't believe he has any charges, though, so, you know, no charge pain is always going to be a rough place to be. But it is going to be Swiggin's cutout over there. Not going to be going down, actually. It is actually going to be Sentry going down instead, funnily enough. So it is currently up 3 kills on the red team as opposed to 1 kill on the blue team. So far, red team is looking pretty strong. There's going to be a strong push right there up at the front. 4 droids actually pushed up against their turret, so going to be some free damage right there. I do want to talk about first items, though, because I think that's become my new favorite thing, I guess, is talking about first items and seeing how they play into early game. 3 people, 2 on the red team and 1 on the blue team, getting double regen right off the bat, basically. I think that's an interesting pick. You see double regen sometimes, but not as often, I think, as you might expect, but definitely not, you know, within half the cast at this point. That's going to have to wait a second, though, because there's going to be some initiation. 1-for-1 trade right there. Instead, actually going to be a 2-for-1 trade. Froggy going to be really, really low, but Invis maybe looking for a pickoff on Shin. Nope, not quite. Just going to go for another backdash. A little bit of distraction, and just going to be going back because he can't really catch himself out there with that low health. So there's going to be a little bit of push on the red side from the blue droids that are going to be coming out. Lone Star are going to be left alone to defend. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, first items overall. Silence going to be coming out both on Penny as well as Sentry. So if they are going to be caught in a black hole, it is potential that they're going to be looking to just immobilize people entirely. What's your take on how things are playing out right now so far?
Well, they're doing a really good job brawling it out. The blue team is going in with their classic insta-click initiations. It's what Japan Disciples, that team is known for. They're going in, they're duking it out, they have no issues. You know, just going right into the red team's face, and they're relying not on their positioning, but their confidence and their ability to outplay. But right here, like we're gonna see play initiation going on the manager, not much follow up, but red team has to not just, you know, outmaneuver, outposition the blue team. They have to, you know, it sounds basic, but they have to land their stuff and dodge the other things, and if they can't, and like that, for example, they're gonna take out Body Hunter like that. If they can't find, you know, the clean pickups, if they can't you know, land all their auto attacks, for example, and let instead Penny get all her charges back, that's not going to be good. And now we're going to see a big double kill happening off as Paulo picks up another, you know, they're 2 for nothing, but at the cost, actually it's going to be 2 for 1. It's at for the cost of Mr. Manager's life. Then it's really, really easy for their for them to constantly find those frags, constantly for the blue team to go in and just do a lot of damage. And with a Penny and a Frog combo, that's all they need. They don't even need the Sentry to find the kills. The Sentry is there for the initiation, for the tankiness. The Sentry is about sending a message that if you go in on us, you'll get black called. He's not actually there for the black call.
Sentry. Yeah.
But I'm serious though, and Nine Rockets is gonna trade his life with Paulo right there, as Paulo commits himself for 1-for-1. But it's like the reason the red team doesn't go in is because of that black coal. Like the blue team isn't going around being like, hold on, I'm gonna see if I can black coal them. Are you guys ready to follow up? It's just about what do you call it? Just getting your team to go in getting the red team to just be a little bit too afraid of retaliation. So with that said, we see the blue team is going to continue to kind of storm down that top line. We see the tweeters going to clear that up, and that's going to result in some push. But here comes the entirety of the red team off the rotation. They're going to miss everything there on Paulo. They have the perfect idea, the perfect coordination, and honestly caught him out. And all GUNE, but all of them missed. Literally all of them, and now they have to back way up. And it's not good. We see Amplify coming out extremely early from Apollo here. How do you feel about that, Pyro?
I don't think it's a bad pickup. I think it's kind of interesting to see it this early as opposed to, like, some other more traditional penny upgrades, Herrick snack bench, some pounce damage, even some just normal pulse damages usually you see earlier than amp. So I think he's going to be looking out for, in that case, I guess his team doing more of the damage than it. Although we don't really see any damage upgrades, really. I mean, we see Hammer Pants coming out on Froggy, but that's really about it as far as damage ups go. There's going to be some range on Frog's auto attack, a shield coming on his excuse me, on his tornado. Other than that, no real damage upgrades, at least yet. So maybe it's a preparatory upgrade, but it's kind of a little bit early in my opinion. But if it works out for them, it works out for them, but I haven't really seen it in action thus far. One thing that I did want to kind of point out, or not necessarily point out, but kind of discuss, one of the things you were talking about, I think, is that, Red Team is definitely a little bit more scared of the Sentry, sending a message and all that, and that's going to have to wait a second, actually. It's going to be, Suga's going to be caught out almost. He's going to be on the wrong side of the map. I don't know if he's going to be able to get out, going to be trying to teleport. He is actually going to be getting out right there, just in the nick of time. That auto attack, if that had landed and actually denied the teleport, definitely would have been him dead. He was only about a bar and a half. But definitely a nice play right there. Going to be able to get out right there and only make it a single pick off from Deadlift. Lone Star right there, unfortunately, not going to be so lucky. So they are currently staggered, which is not a very good place to be in. Deadlift coming in, Lone Star going out. And they're going to be getting some push right there. Like I said, right there is some area deny from a Sentry. He's going to be caught out right there with the anchor. Going to be looking to get that pick off. Not quite yet. So that's going to be a little bit unfortunate there. I forgot exactly what my original point was. There's been so much action going on the past couple of minutes. So I was talking about something about, I don't know, builds or order. It doesn't really matter at this point.
Yeah, it's okay. One thing that could be worrying is that the red team is getting a lot more tanky options than the blue team is getting damage. The only damage that they have is they got Hammer Pants and Ninja Worms. They technically got Amplifying. They got Social Session. Now Rocket's going to be taking a lot of damage here. Paulo is probably going to be going down as a result, but counter initiation from Manager at least buys him another second of life. Okay, and Shin takes him out. But okay, my point is that besides Penny, you don't really have that much damage on the blue team. And Shadow going to get taken down there. And now, Nine Rocket's in a bad spot. And he's actually going to come out of that. He's Deadlift. He's got Protected Post. He's got Barrier Magazine. And one thing that I wonder is, if the blue team doesn't get more damage soon, what is their kill finish? Because I don't know if they'll have one. I think that they'll be able to go in with everything that they got going on and not be able to find a kill if Deadlift counter initiates at the right time. And Rockets just kind of goes in trying to bait, goes down to 1 bar, and now Paulo's in prime position to get taken out here. But they miss everything again, but he still cleans them up with the auto attack. Now here's going to be the Black Hole. It's not going to hit a thing. And Bounty Hunter trying to track Shin, but doesn't want to get hit by Dynamite either. There's going to be a missed leap, which again, that could have resulted in a kill. They need to just watch the finesse there. And that top turret is just getting melted upon. Bounty Hunter doing his best to delay it a bit. Manager doing his best to make space, but he actually gets predicted there. He splash dashes not past Lone Star, so Lone Star just gets the easiest space mine of his life. And not much else going to actually happen so far. We're gonna kind of see a little bit of footsie knots coming around. It's not really much in particular occurring, yeah. What are your current thoughts on this situation? Like, what's the best way to generate a kill for either team?
I think, we're going to be seeing a big black hole right there. Actually, going to be two red team's members going down right there. Going to be Deadlift caught out alone, or not caught out, left alone rather. Oh man, me being caught. I don't know what's wrong with me in that phrasing today, but anyway, it is going to be their bottom reds are going down. Potentially their top two right there. If Deadlift's not going to be able to take it out, doesn't look like he's just going to let that go and is going to be teleporting back to safety or not. I guess he's going to stay in for a little bit longer. He was doing it for a second, but. Yeah, overall, it's going to be. I think, like you were saying, I think it comes down to blue team getting damage at this point. But it's kind of interesting to know because it doesn't look like they need it. I mean, they did get a nice double kill right there just through coordinated effort. I think getting damage is only going to be a little bit make them even scarier. But you know, like I said, another pick off right there, nice timing, nice placement, and everything else. So this one doesn't even look like they necessarily need more damage. I mean, it never hurts, but at the same time, they're managing to do everything they need to do in order to get these kills, in order to get map advantage as well. And, you know, the two super droids out against the melee defenders is never really a good place you want to be, especially for this red team that's already on their back heels. The blue team is going to be a level ahead, 1 kill ahead. They are some solar ahead, and builds are relatively even now that I'm kind of looking at overall stats. But blue team is starting to actually get damage now. Sentry going to be able to getting one of the Yellow King pages to get some damage on this Teleburst, as well as Starstormer Statue. Probably going to be getting Hydra Splash, both stages to get some damage on this dash. And Penny actually going to be getting pulse damage, as well as a Gray Man group badge. I actually never actually took the time to actually read that item name before. I think it's kind of a funny name, but anyway. Yeah, so the damage is starting to get out on the blue team. I think we're going to notice it now that, you know, things are going to be moving a little bit faster, and are going to be noticing a lot of the damage that's going to be coming out more directly. There's going to be a big team fight going on. Finally, there's going to be a pickoff right there on the Penny. Everyone going to be relatively low. Central going to be left defending right there at about 4 bars, defending their back turret right there against a Lone Star. Not too much going on anymore right there. Probably going to be coming back in. Sentry going to be looking to see some lane transition as well as maybe a little bit of defense. But again, the red team is going to be a little bit hesitant in going in, even though it is going to be 2v3, and they do have the health advantage. You know, it's not about the Sentry, you know, that kind of thing. Sentry is going to be cut out right there.
Sound like I'm auditioning for Breaking Bad or something.
Right?
Not about the Sentry. I am the Sentry.
Say my name now.
There's gonna be X58. Okay, I'm sorry. And in the meantime, while I'm like just being an idiot, there's gonna be a 1-for-1 happening off the jump pad there. That's gonna be both Deadlift and Penny taken out. Shem fishing for the dynamite down that pit there. Gonna try and find a bull off of there. Body Hunter and Mr. Manager walking in. The stun initiation lets them follow with the black hole, and they manage to land that black hole and even get the telefrag in NATO going on. Still not enough to take out Swiggins. That's exactly what I was thinking about. It's just
I think he actually missed his beacon damage. I think it was only the dummy that hit because it didn't notice silence coming out on Swiggins. If that beacon damage that actually landed, that'd probably win him down. But
okay,
you know,
fair enough.
Too little, too late. I think because I didn't see the dummy go off, but I didn't see silence. But you know, that's besides the point right now. Gonna be potentially another team fight going on right here. Deadlift gonna be right there. Protected post coming out, you can be able to save him. There's actually gonna be a good team fight right here for the red team, I would say. Powell almost gonna be caught out, and gonna be looking for any frag really at this point. Both of them gonna be juking the same way. Not recommended in my opinion. It would have been nice if they split up right there. It is gonna be Powell gonna be caught out right there. Unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna be enough to save him. So that is gonna be an entire wipe on the blue side. Free red is going to get some free push right here, especially on the back top tier where they definitely want to be pushing, get some base exposure before they can really do much else. It looks like they're going to be able to get it because Sentry is barely going to be coming in, and while he can do a little bit of defending, there's going to be a lot of damage on that turret. and yeah, it's just going to go down pretty immediately. Everyone's going to be backing out, not committing too hard to that base exposure. They're going to get their bottom turret as well. Only blue team is going to be left with their bottom back turret on Agalon. So, you know, tides are turning really, really quickly. Blue team was looking at advantageous overall, and now red team is actually a level ahead and a couple of kills ahead as well. Deadlift are going to be getting a couple of more items too. Everyone actually. So as far as builds go, blue team is going to be looking a little bit more advanced than red team, just in terms of the quantity of items at the very least.
And you see some kind of interesting pickups there as well. For example, we see the 9-tailed fox badge coming on Penny, which means he's going to be moving a lot faster. You see ice cubes on Froggy G, which means there's a 30% slow applied to his dash, and that slow gets applied to Shin and then gets followed up by a Ninja Orange for a clean 1-for-0 exchange. Just kind of gets bodied there in that little corner without having any room to run out. Body Hunter, though, going to get cut out. Apollo going to get caught out, but Mr. Manager is going to take that anchor for him and splash his way out. And oh, the leap, and that's going to... You thought he was alive, and no, that's a wipe. The Super Troy going to finish him off, and that's a wipe with base exposure. Did these guys just win?
I mean, it's potential. I mean, they don't really have a lot of auto attack damage. Swiggins does have 1 auto attack upgrade. I believe Deadlift has 1 auto attack upgrade, if I'm reading these descriptions correctly. So it's going to be at least a good chunk of damage off of base. You know, looking at about a half health base right now on the blue side. And it is looking like their bottom turret is going to go down as well, just from natural droid push. Super droid on that lone's going to be able to finish that turret off and provide a nice escape for them pretty easily. Penny going to be looking for initiation right there. Frog going to be coming in and not unfortunately landing into the damage, and then Froggy now going to be caught out alone. But it is going to be looking like Deadlift is going to be going down in that situation. So a 1-for-0 trade right there. Base exposed on the blue side. What do you think they would need to do at this point in order to actually come back from this, if there's anything they can do?
Well, you know, that bottom red turret is significantly low. Low enough that easily just about any push setup can potentially take it out. And the blue team, while they have a base with only 3 bars, if they can find someone and pick up the frags, then it's something that they can do and just try and wipe them. I mean, I guess it's simple to say wipe, but like, you need to force the fight when you're in the situation. You can't just let it prolong. You can't fight at your base. They can't just, wait on the red team and try and make a big play happen. They have to force the fight and try and win it. And it looks like they can't wait too much longer. The red team doesn't want to lose this because they know they have it. But like, if they let the Lone Star get in, there's going to be that pulse there. We needed that dash there from Mr. Manager. That dash isn't going to hit until after the silence goes out, so Apollo is going to be taken out. That delayed dash there might have just cost them the game. And he's trying to take them out, and there's not much Body Hunter can do. They are going to manage to find the frag on Shadow, but it's not going to be enough, and that's going to be the game in favor of my Rocket Shadow and Shin in a relatively close match. All things considered, that was a really good one to watch. Lots of good lane rotation interruptions. Now, those are the sort of matches that I typically enjoy casting, because I think those are some of the most coordinated plays that you can see. And both teams were always actively trying to make it. You always saw them going in together on places that you wouldn't expect, and that's when you know what team is good, when they have that sort of synergy in the weird situation, not just like the basic.
No, yeah, definitely. A lot of minimap awareness coming out as well, as I would say. We didn't really point it out too much, but there was a lot of cases where there was like, people trying to juke out and you're taking the middle jump pads, and Deadlift actually still keeping an eye out for that landing, being able to at least attempt to use his lunge from the other side of maybe not the other side of the map, but at least, from distance away, trying to catch the knot that was going up with a jump pad. But overall, a nice team play, and just a nice cast to match. Nice. Good job, Pyro. Nice match to cast. But yeah, definitely a fun one to look at and see how these guys played it out. And nice to see everything how it turned out, and a nice ebb and flow to the match as well. So good match overall.
Definitely. And both teams, like they showed, as you mentioned, really good teamwork, and it does make it enjoyable to cast. Builds are pretty traditional, pretty solid. Besides a few of the interesting opening things that still made sense, like the that slow cubes does a lot of work. I think that's one of the more underrated items. Like there's most people just get both of the primary damages and then get one of the clocks, but don't count slow out. I'm actually surprised it took so long for it to catch on, but it was good the entire time, in my humble opinion. Like it did so much. It's nice to see these guys just, I guess, kind of getting their practice in. Both teams are consistent players in the monthly Gathers tournament, which, by the way, quick little plug, you can sign up for deadline for that is on the 8th. Speaking of...
It's not about the center. No, just kidding.
Oh, God. You're going to force that into me, aren't you?
I might. I just might. I kind of like it, honestly. So, you know.
It's not about the century. It's about the threat of the century.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, you were saying a monthly Gathers tournament. I guess if you want to continue plugging that.
Hey, you guys should sign up.
Nice. Good plug.
Yeah.
Good plug.
No. See you guys next week. Nice plug. We did it, boys. What are some of the things you think the blue team could have done differently?
I think it was a little bit too being able to, you know, I feel like we always come back to this of being a little bit maybe overly reductive, but just landing abilities, I think was one of the things, because especially in one of the latter team fights, I noticed how everyone was blowing their abilities. You know, they were coordinated for sure, but they just weren't quite with that finesse in order to actually land certain abilities. You know, there was a missed frog dash, there was a missed black hole, missed time of some things, and you know, they blew their abilities, and that's, you know, their major threat. At that point, they're just kind of like walking hitboxes, basically. So in those kinds of situations, they were definitely on their back heel and just kind of trying to run away. And, you know, with a team like the red one, where there's a lot of chase, there's a lot of initiation, there's some lockdown involved as well. It's kind of tough to get out of the situation if you don't have any skills at all at that point. So, you know, if it maybe like managing of cooldowns, or maybe having their cooldowns a little bit more staggered so that they could have a little bit more of a chance when it came down to team fights or things like that. Something like that might have been able to give them a better handle on the situation overall. But overall, it was played very well. You know, one of the things that I might point out is that maybe they should have gotten damage a little bit earlier or something. You know, I don't know. It's kind of tough to say at this point because they did get damage relatively early. I think overall, I mean, relatively, not even a relatively short match. It was about 18 minutes. So, I mean, pretty standardized match. Not too much going on, but maybe I think one of the things overall is even one not potentially focusing on damage may have gone a little bit further. You know, Penny got amped pretty early. Not that it was a bad upgrade, but I think it was a little bit of a mistimed upgrade potentially. There weren't a whole lot of situations where they were running away low. It's like, well, you know what, a single damage upgrade would have made the difference right there. But at the same time, you know, it's not about the damage, it's about the threat of the damage, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna be forcing that too hard. It's kind of fun to mess around.
Okay, I don't mind. I think it's funny too.
But yeah, overall, I think it was just a good match nonetheless.
Yeah, it really was. And guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this week. That was our weekly Scrim Show, where we take 2 scrims from the competitive community and cast them right before your eyes. You can submit your own matches to be casted if you go to our website, Awesomenautsrumble.com. Soon we get a little form for you to fill out there. Basically, all I ask you for is the match ID and the draft link. And we do ask for them to be scrims, you know, not just your favorite pubs, but scrims. Scrims. And if you have any issues finding a scrim, I recommend joining the Awesomenauts Rumble Discord and joining the Awesomenauts Scrim Portal, which is a third-party server not ran by Rumble, but is kind of the primary way of finding scrims nowadays. That's going to wrap us up. We will be back next week, same time, 12 p.m. Eastern, same channel. And don't forget, on June 10th and 11th, we are going to be having a monthly Gathers tournament that anyone can sign up for. We try and match up teams to be go versus similarly skilled teams. So we got a bunch of the free-to-play players are actually signing up. So that was a really, really good time to try out competitive if you haven't before. With that said, I also just want to give everyone a pleasant little reminder of, where was it? What am I seeing? And don't forget, we have our primary mainline tournament of 2017 being revealed soon. It's going to be revealed on the 21st It's called Championship Cup. You aren't going to want to miss this. It's going to be freaking awesome. It's going to be our flagship event of the year. And for those of you who can't wait, for the flagship event, I do want to let you guys know that before the 21st, we will also have another event being announced called the Awesomenauts Rumble Summer Games, which it's just going to be a pretty casual event. And more information about that will be revealed soon as well. So you guys aren't going to want to miss out on either of these. It's going to be great. We have a lot of stuff planned. But with that said, we are going to wrap things up today. Pyro, my dude, I appreciate you coming out here. It's been a blast. And catch you next week, my guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely always fun to come out here and cast with you. But yeah, see you guys next week.
See ya.